afternoon.
It
It's
is not
afternoon.
morning.
Where's my
It
head
is
at?
Well,
Good day
we are
to you,
once
sir.
we're zooming because old
Yeah.
Jason and the kids caught another round of something, a
Some
bug
bug.
from the neighbors' kids. We'll blame them.
Yeah. And we just want to play it safe. We don't like to,
Oh
you know,
no,
spread it.
I'm kind of germaphobe,
They
so
used to say sharing is caring, but I think that
I
phrase is gonna die. I think I
yeah,
I think with COVID, I think that phrase is just gonna pass. It'll be like, no, sharing is not caring.
no, no, not at all, not at all. So let's
Yeah.
first off, let's give a shout out to our Tampa Bay Buccaneers who
Yeah.
pulled out a squeaker, and I'd like to thank the kicker for Dallas because basically you handed us the game by missing 3 field goals. God bless you, sir.
Brian Staley says go box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and let's give a shout out to your Tampa Bay Rays, who are in first place with about 20 games to go, nine
Oops.
ahead of Boston, nine ahead of the Yankees.
Oops.
Unbelievable. We have a
Champ
payroll of $11.92, and we're in first place. And I didn't
Champa
check
Bay.
yesterday, but we may have the best record in baseball. But as of Tuesday, the Giants were 1 game ahead of us, like 85 and 50, and we were like 84 and 51. So imagine that. We got $11.92 payroll, which is about 14 cents a player, and we are in first place. God bless. Now, mind you, Jason, we are going to lose our team, and they're going to go to Montreal. But hey, that's fodder for another day.
Wait,
All right,
what?
so let's get in. Oh yeah,
I didn't know
let's
that.
get into today's topic. Well, I'm just calling it how I see it. If they don't get a new stadium in the next by start a new stadium by 22 or 23, 2022, they gone. Just that
Wow.
simple.
Wow.
Yeah, that's that. All right, so everybody knows what's going on in the state of Florida as far as mask mandates, the local school boards, kind of and depending on what position you take, and I'm not taking a position. Honestly, I don't have kids, and I think it's just I read the paper and whatever they're going to do has nothing to do with me. But on that note, which brings the topic today, which kind of I will explain how the mask mandate, the government, local governments, and so forth, and the Supreme Court intertwine. There's a case. It's the state of Florida, which is Governor DeSantis, the Ashley Moody, who's our state attorney, the FDLA commissioner, versus basically a whole lot of counties and government entities. The city of Weston, the city of Miami, Broward County, the list goes on and on. So you basically have the state government versus a bunch of local officials in a fight. Okay, and this one is a fight over gun regulations.
Oh boy.
Okay, yeah, but it will. I think the Supreme Court has taken the case. When I say Supreme Court, Florida Supreme Court, because it ties into, you know, can local governments enact statutes or ordinances and laws contrary to the state governments statutes and laws. And I'll just jump into it. So in 1987, the Florida legislature uh, basically preempted the whole field of firearms and ammunition regulation. Okay, and what does that mean? Basically saying, look, this is the law for the state of Florida, and Hillsborough County, Broward County, Polk County, Dade County, you can't enact ordinances or other laws or other statutes, even though they wouldn't be statutes, they would be ordinances basically that can contradict what the state says is. Oh, that'd be Leanne. I got to put her and say, call you later. And so what happened was, it says this, as expressly provided by the state constitution or general law, the legislative body of Florida hereby declares that it is occupying the whole field of regulation of firearms and ammunition, including the purchase, sale, transfer, taxation, manufacture, ownership, possession, storage, and goes on and on and on. Basically, the state's going to tell the citizenry what they can and can't do when it comes to firearms, and your local government cannot enact an ordinance that's contrary to what the state says. Well, guess what? You can imagine that which is happening with the mask mandate. Honestly, that's how it kind of coincides. Where the state of Florida is saying school districts, you can't require masks, right? That's what's going on. I mean, just calling it just what's going on, and the elected officials, the school board of that county is saying yes, we can. Right. I mean, if you're watching the news, that's what's going on.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. So they're thumbing their nose at the governor and so forth, and there are reasons why, and that's working its way through the system. But on this case, there was no real teeth to this statute, so they enacted it, right? And the local government still enacted ordinances on things such as magazine size. You know, you can't have a magazine over 15. They enacted gun-free zones. You know, you can't have a gun in A, B, and C. They enacted, background checks and just things having to do with the regulations of guns and ammunition that were contrary to the state laws, right?
Okay.
But that was it. If someone sued, let's just call it Hillsborough County. If someone sued Hillsborough County, well, the county representatives, our commission, would use public funds, i.e., the Hillsborough County lawyers, to fight it. Okay, and then if they lost, they would use public funds to pay any fines or judgments levied. So there was no teeth. I'm going to do what I want because you know what? There's nothing you can do to me if I'm wrong. You know, it's like your kids. I'm going to do whatever I want because once dad catches me, nothing happens, right? Well, guess what? They didn't like that. So that went on until 2011. In 2011, the Florida legislature amended the statute and said, well, we're tired of this. We're tired of this crap. Now, the local official can be fined up to $5,000. The local official cannot use public funds for his or her defense. The local official cannot use public funds if there's any judgment, levied against them. Well, you can imagine that's no bueno, because hey, now if I'm the mayor of Tampa or a commissioner for Hillsborough County and I pass an ordinance and somebody sues me, I've got to pay out of my pocket for an attorney.
Yeah.
I might have to pay out of my pocket a $5,000 fine. Might have to pay out of my pocket any judgment associated with this lawsuit. Once again, they don't like that, so they sued.
Yeah.
And their position was that's an unconstitutional statute. Well, they won at the trial court level in Tallahassee. That's where if you sue the government, that's where you have to sue them, is basically in Tallahassee, Leon County.
Okay.
Well, of course, DeSantis and company appealed, and the First District Court of Appeal, which is the one up there in Tallahassee, said, no, sorry, the trial court was wrong, and the law is constitutional. And therefore, if you enact these ordinances, you're going to have to pay. And let me back up.
Yeah. Can I ask a question real quick?
So I forgot something very important. What they would do, the government would say, well, we acted in good faith and we relied on counsel. In the new statute, they said, no, you cannot use we acted in good faith as a defense, and you cannot use we relied on advice of counsel as a defense. If you're found to have knowingly violated this statute, good faith, then, well, I asked the lawyers and they told me it was okay. That's out the window. They didn't like that either. So go ahead.
Well, I was gonna ask what are the ramifications of that making it through, like why he appealed it, because it seems like, I don't know, it seems like that would be, that really just kind of muddies things up.
Let me ask you, Jason, you have a concealed weapons here in Hillsborough County, and we don't have an ordinance saying you can only have 6 bullets, 6-round magazine.
Okay.
I drive down to Miami with my gun, and they have one that says you can only have 6, and it's 6 months in jail and $5,000 fine.
Okay.
Well, then I'm driving through Brevard County on my way to Daytona Farm, and you got a different ordinance. Then you got a different law.
Yeah.
I mean,
That'd
that's
create
just
massive complication.
that's a mess. It's not a
Okay.
workable framework for you want uniformity
Yeah.
in the law.
You need consistency. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And you can
So, and
imagine
that's essentially what DeSantis is trying to accomplish is like not allowing
uniformity.
them to make, yeah, like the individual. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, who are we kidding? If you're in Polk County, you can probably they would have a statue you can strap on an AK-47 and walk around. You go to whatever one of the southern a Democrat county, you can't even carry a gun. You can't even have one. You follow me?
Sure. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
really it's to do away with your local government enacting a ordinance, contrary to the state.
That can become very harassing too.
Well,
Like,
but that's what was happening. And
mm-hmm.
again, the reason they were getting away with it, so to speak, there was no penalty. It was just, okay, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the road, okay, that ordinance is not valid.
Sure.
And we move on.
Okay, now I understand. Now I understand why this is more like where it goes. So thank you.
Right. It's just like this, and that's what you're seeing at the mask mandate, depending on what county you're in.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Honestly, there's you have to wear a mask at school, or you don't have to wear a mask at school, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, in a lot of other issues, you have elected school board officials and things of that nature, so it is somewhat different. Mm-hmm. But the bottom line is what I believe the Supreme Court's going to try to do with this case is say, look, local governments, you can't just go haphazard and disregard the laws from the state of Florida, because those are the elected officials from the people to, you know what I'm saying? The legislative body. Yeah. And so it's almost like, you've got this body that has this authority,
right?
And you bring in a smaller local body that tells this body, we're not going to listen to what you have to say. We're going to do what we want.
That sets a really nerve-wracking precedent.
Well, it is, and that's what you're seeing with there's another statute that or executive order on one mayor would say we got a curfew at 8:00. Remember Tampa?
Yeah, I was going to ask, what are the chances? What are the chances that a ruling on one area of law like that would trickle over to another area of law? What are the chances of that?
That's exactly what's supposed to happen. I mean, and I'll give you an example. We talked about this last week about the Texas abortion case, right? Where it's illegal or otherwise to have an abortion after 6 weeks. And everybody's up in arms because the Supreme Court did not agree to hear that case. And as you recall, I told you why. Because I believe they agreed to hear the Mississippi case that says 15 weeks. Well, guess what? If a law restricting abortions after 15 weeks is unconstitutional, one at 6 weeks is automatically unconstitutional. You follow me?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So why hear them both?
Right.
You don't have to. We're gonna say it's this, and then everything on that side of it.
It's gonna set a precedent. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's what they're hoping, because again, remember,
that's a case. That's an example of the same type of case being about abortion setting a precedent. I guess my question was, what are the chances that, like, say, the precedent for local government to make laws or codes and enforcing codes on certain things like masks, how would that translate over to?
Simple as that. You go in and say, Your Honor, an example of why mask, the rules regulating mask, you have to look no further than the state of Florida versus the city of whatever. And you say the Supreme Court has held that if the state enacts a statute, that the local government cannot act contrary to that. And so you would use that case as your example as to why your
local can mask whatever. Yeah.
That happens all the time. Very rarely do you have, they call it a case on point, meaning very rarely do you have the case that says, this is what's going on. I found the case right here, exactly like my case. Yeah. And so I should win. If you find that case, they call it an on point. Well, that's a slam dunk. You just go and say, look, in the case of Paul Reed versus Jason Crawford, A, B, and C, okay, and here it is.
It's exactly like this. I guess
So that,
I'm not asking my question very well, because
okay.
my question is really like, so the mask on mask principle, like say
Mhm.
Hillsborough wants to copy Broward County, so we reference what they did in this case, and then it's like, this is over here, it set a precedent. But let's say that like they're wanting to enact a specific gun law, and they pull up the case law for, say, this case over here, where the masks, we had a certain ruling on masks where they allowed the local government to make a different ruling based on the state's decision over masks.
Right.
We have a precedent
Well,
for that, so let's do it on guns over here. Like, how
no,
is it able to
it wouldn't.
switch?
Not really. I mean,
Okay.
in a broader sense, because remember the mask mandate was upheld because there's another statute in play, which is the Parents' Bill of Rights. So
Okay, right, yeah.
what the judge said there on this was like the Parents' Bill of Rights basically it intertwined with this statute and the governor's executive order. So you're right. It's not always, and quite often not always, the same or similar. You find something as close as you can to
Right, okay.
your position, and then you argue that. These two are probably are not, other
Different
than
enough that they wouldn't
the
be.
proposition, the big picture that local governments cannot enact an ordinance contrary to the state. So that would be your big argument. Now, whether it would apply to mask and things of that nature, because there's a lot of moving parts to that one.
Right, yeah.
But the remember the Florida Supreme Court and the United States Supreme Court. If you know your history, by the time Roe versus Wade was decided, I believe that the woman that had the baby was like 18 years old.
Yeah,
I'm kidding. It wasn't.
It was much after.
Yeah, and so they don't really, sad to say, really care about the individual case that they're
Right.
hearing. Now,
Right.
granted, it affects that case, but they're saying, okay, this is one case, but this applies to the United
Yeah.
States of America or
Right.
the state of Florida.
They're
And
more
so,
concerned with the greater picture, the bigger picture.
simple as that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
with this gun laws and this, that, and the other.
They're not going to fast track something.
They don't care about
Yeah.
the city of Weston and the little mayor of Campen, the this, that, and the other. They want to tell everybody, look, the state has this statute, and you just can't go and enact ordinances that are contrary to that. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? And that's
Yeah.
what the Supreme Court, the Mississippi thing, I don't know that if it's 15 weeks, I don't know what happened with this woman and whether she, had an abortion or she's going to have the kid. I don't know what
Right.
happened. And you can look at it, but that they didn't take it because of her. They took it because of it's a
the
issue
bigger
that
picture, the bigger
they
impact.
need to address.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
again, it's a hot topic, abortions. But
Sure.
you're
All of these are hot
conservative.
topics.
Well, you're gun rights, abortions. I mean, mask. I agree.
Yeah.
And,
Abortion, mask, vaccine, guns. Like, you're hitting all the
I
massive
mean,
big ones.
yeah. And honestly, they never go away. The
Yeah.
guns. You would think after 50 years, but it doesn't. You would think whether good bad abortion would go away. They just always come back because there's half the people want one thing and half the people want another thing, and
Yeah.
and so the people in power, they'll make an ordinance when they're in power, and then it shifts. It's the pendulum. Ever since I
Yeah.
turned 18, you've got your Democrats will come in to office for a few years, and then the Republican just goes back and forth, which keeps the courts very busy because they've got to
Yes.
say, okay, you guys are going like this. We're supposed to go like this.
Yeah.
What's the Constitution say? We're supposed to stay straight, not swing left, swing right, like a
Sure.
pendulum on a grandfather's clock.
Yeah, because people
God
can have
bless.
opinions. Opinions are opinions, and they're always going to be all over the place. But law is the thing that kind of keeps us all constant, and whether
It's
or not
supposed-
people on all extremes can agree on this piece here and ride on it. Yeah, that's key.
All right.
So a question did come in. And I don't want to take too much more of your time. This has been a long one already, but this one I think is timely and appropriate.
Woo!
Yeah, it's timely and appropriate, so I don't think we can put it off. But Brian says, where was Paul on 9/11?
That's an easy one. Who forgets that? All right. So
Yeah.
I was working for Catania and Catania. They were on the 24th floor of the Bank of America, and they had a view of the west. So you're looking out towards Pinellas County. So I'm driving to work, and I'm listening to radio, and I hear that a plane had hit one of the buildings, the towers. Well, mind you, that had happened before. I recall that a plane had hit the Empire State Building, if I'm not mistaken, in the past. So I'm thinking little commuter plane, like everybody. I say, holy crap, somebody screwed up.
Like, whoops.
So I get to work, and everybody's there, and they had a TV in the kitchen, and by now, the whole thing's burning like hell, and they kind of realize it's a commuter plane, and I'm watching, and boom, you see the other one.
Yeah, wow.
Bam! In minutes, the alarm goes off in the Bank of America and tells everybody to evacuate.
Wow.
Right? And they do boom. Well, I didn't. I'm like, they're not going to hit the Bank of America. Whatever's going on. So I stayed there. I was the only one in the office, and then I'm watching the TV, and at some point, they start telling the airlines you have to land your planes, right? So I'm looking out west, and the airport's right here to my north. Mm-hmm. Dude, you should have seen it. Just plane after plane after plane. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, wow.
And then at some point, I'm sure I was like, okay, well, might as well go home. But where was I on 9/11? I was on the 24th floor of the Bank of America in downtown Tampa at Catania in Catania.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Caleb Souders says Paul Reed for president 2024. Paul, do you think you would ever get involved?
Too many skeletons.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I wish, but nope, that ain't gonna happen. Couldn't withstand the scrutiny.
Fair enough. Yeah, I remember where I was too. It was my first real job, like official on paper, job for anyone being paid. And I was working for the library of Fultondale, Alabama, the public library, and I think I either got sent home or just it was kind of like one of those, like, go home, something big happened, and I was like, I don't understand. My world up until that point, I don't remember exactly how old I was, 17 maybe. It was like
2000.
Yeah.
2001. I think 2001.
So I graduated in 2002. So it would have been 16 or 17. Yeah, sorry, I'm telling you. But, it was action figures and Scooby-Doo and girls that you're interested in, and like who knew anything about terrorists? You know what I mean? Like as a kid, my mind's not even wasn't even thinking about any of that stuff, and I don't know, it just kind of blew my world wide open. Yeah,
it's a game changer.
It's really, really well.
Yep.
Jamie Higlin says
most people do recall where they were. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. Jamie Higlin says I can support Paul Reed for 2024.
Well, God willing, we get there anyway. Holy crap, the way things are going.
Yeah, we're at interesting times. Times. So what are you doing this weekend?
I am going to watch the Florida Gators trash USF, my USF Bulls. Yeah.
Call it like you see it.
Are going to the game. Well, we got beat 45-0 by NC State last week. Now, I'm an eternal optimist. We're going to whoop those Gators, and that's not going to happen. Well, we're gonna give it the old college effort.
The old college try, yeah. Sounds good.
All right, well, it's a beautiful day. Summer is almost over, thank goodness.
Can't wait for that.
Other than that, Jason, I hope you and the kids feel better in the next few days.
We're on the mend.
We'll be back next Friday at another edition of Live. And other than that, I guess we're out.
Sounds good. Thank you, Paul.
All right. Okay, see y'all.